Hi everyone. I wanted to take a few minutes to introduce myself and to give you a kind of big picture overview of what you can expect as we begin preparing for your clinical semesters. My name is Crystal Lewis-Pratl and I am our Pulse Clinical Coordinator. My goal today isn't to explain every single detail of the clinical semesters. Instead, I really just want to give you an overview of the overall process and explain a lot of what I'll be working on behind the scenes over the coming year. And I also really hope to begin getting to know each of you before I start meeting with your school administrators. Throughout our program, you are going to revisit important information often, and you're going to see it several times. So don't worry if you don't remember every single detail from today's video. Think of this as your very first introduction to the clinical journey, and we will continue to build on this information across the next year. So we'll start by taking a look at our clinical experience roadmap. And although your clinical semesters don't begin until next year, my work is actually beginning now. So over the coming months, I will be reaching out to your school districts, your cooperatives, and begin planning your clinical experiences. Every single district is different, so those conversations are really focused on identifying the best ways to embed those clinical requirements into your current role whenever possible. And then during the spring, I'll start working on the actual placement. Those will start taking shape by the end of next summer. We'll have a full clinical orientation before you ever begin the field-based semester. So there'll be lots of opportunities for more information along the way. Your two clinical semesters are designed to build on one another. So our first clinical experience we call field-based. That will be in the fall, a year from now. And during this semester, you're going to be taking on some planning and teaching responsibilities while you're continuing to receive support from your cooperating teacher, your instructor, and you'll also be assigned a university supervisor who will observe your teaching and then also serve as a strong mentor for you. During your student teaching semester, which is the spring of year 2, that is going to build on the experience from your first semester by expanding your responsibilities and really helping you to grow in terms of your teaching. That semester, you'll do a unit of instruction. We have you do an IEP data collection project, and you'll likely have the same instructor both semesters for field-based and student teaching, as well as the same university supervisor, so you can build some really strong relationships and partnerships across that year. There are a few additional experiences that as I work with school districts, I'll also be looking for opportunities that really broaden your experience beyond your current assignment whenever possible. And so that looks like opportunities to do small or whole group instruction, maybe observing in some different grade bands or settings, and then attending at least one IEP meeting during your clinical year. And we'll talk much more about these experiences later. I just wanted you to know that they're part of the bigger picture for you to be aware of. So what happens next? There's not a lot that you need to be doing right now. Just wanted you to have kind of an overall timeline of what to expect around clinicals. So over the next several months, I'm going to be continuing to meet with your districts, discussing placements and possibilities and looking at who might be a good cooperating teacher for you. As we move through this year, we're going to continue talking during our pulse checks, and other program meetings, and by the time you begin your clinical experiences, we'll have had multiple opportunities to ask questions and become more familiar with the things that are expected. Next summer, before you begin clinicals, we'll have a clinical orientation where we'll dive into some more specifics around assignments, timelines, expectations. I'll let you know then who your university supervisor is. So if today feels like a lot of information, don't worry. Again, the expectation isn't that you remember all of this. It is just a roadmap for you to get an idea of what the clinical semesters are and how we're going to move through this process together. But before I begin those district conversations, I really would love to learn a little bit more about you. I'm going to ask that you complete a short clinical information survey and then choose one of two options. You can either record a brief Canvas Studio video like I'm doing here with you, or you can schedule a 10-minute Zoom meeting with me. So one of my favorite parts of Pulse has always been getting to know our Pulse candidates before clinicals begin, because hearing about all of your experiences, it really does help me when I'm meeting with your school districts to really understand what your future goals are, what your experiences have been, and ultimately the kind of classroom or job that you're hoping to seek. So that just really helps me when I'm reaching out to those districts, so I can share a little bit more about you. Thanks for taking these few minutes to complete the survey, and I really do look forward to getting to learn a lot more about each of you as we are getting to move into the clinical semesters in just about a year. And please feel free to reach out with any specific questions that you have. I am always happy to meet with you, schedule a one-on-one Zoom meeting, answer any questions, or to help with clarifications.